Hey folks, this is Mary. Welcome back to my channel. So, excuse me. Oh, my throat is still struggling, but I have some tea. And I just wanted to show you what kind of tea this was. It's my favorite tea. It is called Lapsang Souchong. And it is a smoked tea. And a friend in college introduced me to it. And I love it, and nobody else I know likes it. It's very strong and it's very smelly, but I love it, and I especially love it when I don't feel well. It just makes me feel better. It's this warm and comforting tea, and I love it. So my Lapsang Souchong will be my companion this evening. And there's nothing like Christmas in Southern Virginia. Today it's supposed to be 70 degrees, overnight, storms, hail, tornadoes, and tomorrow, 40. So, you know what they say, if you don't like the weather in Virginia, just wait 15 minutes. However, I do think they say that in other states. So, if you say that in your state, let me know in the comments. Let me know what state you're from. Because I just think it's interesting how we have these phrases that we think apply to where we live, and yet it's still universal. But weather is very cool. But don't let me get too far off track. So I have a lovely package today. This was a thoughtful and generous gift from Sara over at Fountain Pen Insanity. And I will share a link with her channel in the comments if you haven't discovered her yet. And this, I've already opened the box. Ooh, goodness. It's making terrible noises, but there's nothing wrong. I already opened the box, and I took out all the crinkly plastic because it was just driving me crazy. So, I wanted to show you the wonderful things that she sent me. So, these items are from a gentleman on Etsy. And he also has a YouTube channel, and I believe he calls himself the old guy. But this is the card that he included. Let me see if I can focus in on that. So if you're interested in any of his items, you can take a look. And I'll include a link to his Etsy shop below if you're interested. But these are 3D printed pen accessories that he makes. And I took a look at his site. He has some really cool stuff on his site. So let's talk about what we have here. So this is called the Tiltwell. I think it's just called the Tiltwell. And then this is the Tiltwell ink saver. And then these are some little pen rests. But if you're not familiar with 3D printing, we do actually have 3D printers at my library, which people can use, except not now because of the quarantine. But the way a 3D printer works is it heats up a material, generally some kind of plastic, and there's a coil of it on the back of the machine. It feeds through a tube, and then there's a plate with a nozzle, and you program the nozzle what shape you want, and it goes around and lays down thin layers of this melted plastic until it builds up a three-dimensional shape. And if I run my finger over this, can you hear that sound? That's my fingernail scraping across all of the teeny tiny layers that make up this object. And I don't know if I can catch them in the light, but if you see those lines, each one of those lines is a layer. So the machine melts the plastic and goes around in the shape that you told it to make and builds up these layers. It's pretty cool. And this is actually really nice. This is really nice material. I guess we just have beginner's material at the library. Ours doesn't look nearly this nice. This is kind of iridescent and it's blue, so hey, I love it automatically. But it's really beautiful, and it's really sturdy too. So this is some good strong stuff. So I like this a lot. But the purpose of this is to help you get the last of the ink out of your ink bottle. So as you can see, I have every ink bottle on the planet on my desk here to show. I was picking out some selections of ink bottles to try out in the inkwell, And I didn't realize how many I had picked out until I was trying to arrange them on my desk. And there's a lot of them, I'm embarrassed to say. Pardon me, tea break. So, I did want to talk about some bottles. You're probably familiar with the Waterman bottle, and the shape of it is made so you can turn it on its side. I don't feel like I've got a very good angle for anybody to see what I'm doing. Let's see, is that any better? Probably not. But you tilt it on its side so you can fill your pen. You know, you put your pen in the bottle to fill it. So you start off with it upright and put your pen in, and then as the ink gets lower, you can turn it to fill kind of at an angle. And I've always felt like the Pelican bottles sort of had that shape. Maybe they're not designed to have, maybe they're not designed for the purpose of tilting them, but I think they are tiltable. However, you can see how far over that's tilted. The bottle would have to be practically empty for you to be able to tilt it without pouring the ink out. So, anyway, so if you have a Waterman bottle, you can turn it on its side, and it's, you know, it's fairly stable if you're careful. But even so, it's kind of wobbly, and you can push it around. So that's where this guy comes in. And it has this platform where you put your bottle, and then it has this tilt to it. Every time, the clock every time. Okay, moving on. It has this little stabilizing foot to keep it from toppling over. So when you put it down, it's really nice and sturdy, and I'm shaking the desk. So then you can put your bottle in, and you know, you have both hands free, so then you can fill your pen. You don't have to worry about, you know, trying to hold the bottle and tilt it and fill the pen, which is, you know, an accident waiting to happen. So I thought I would just try out some different bottle shapes and see how well they fit. So, of course, here's the Waterman. It does tilt on its own, but if you're not comfortable tilting it, we can put it in here. And that is much sturdier. And there is the Pelican 4001. Also nice and sturdy. I mean, this thing is really, really strong and really sturdy. And that was the Pelican. I think the plastic that we use at the library it's just flimsier than this. I don't know, this is really thick. But I guess you can program it to make thicker walls. We're beginners at the library, but we're learning. All right, then I have a diamine bottle, a little one, and he fits in there just fine. So you can either have it flat, or it has a little divot right here, and you could stick a corner in the divot, but I think I like it flatter better. And then here is a big diamine bottle, and that fits right in there. The diamine bottles are pretty big, and they're square, which is, you know, a shape that takes up a lot of space. But he fits right in there, and it's a, you know, pretty big heavy bottle, but no wobbliness at all. Now here is a teeny tiny Krishna bottle, and I think this guy is pretty full, so I'm concerned about putting it in there tilted. But let's see what happens. Yeah, he's kind of full, but I'm going to be brave. Yep. Ooh, and there's lots of ink. And where's a tissue when one needs a tissue? Okay. So it's, the opening is short enough that the lip of the bottle is still accessible. And ooh, look at the pretty color. Very nice. That's Krishna causal. All right, here are the little Twisby bottles. Alas, I don't have any of the big Twisby bottles yet, but I'm sure they would fit in here too. So yep, nice and sturdy. Here is a Monteverde bottle. Actually, this is the small Monteverde bottle. I didn't get out one of the big ones. I bet one of the big ones would fit. I wonder, should I go get one of those? Well, we'll see how we do. We might come back around to the big Monteverde bottle at the end. And here's a troublemaker bottle. Now this one is really tall. So, I mean, this needs to be short enough to give you access to a shorter bottle like this guy. I mean, this bottle is almost twice as tall. So that you could see the size difference is pretty big. So when you put this in there, it's definitely nice and sturdy, but you don't want to push on the lip, because if you push on it, it'll come out. But other than that, you know, if you're just putting your nib in, it should be nice and sturdy. And then we have Noodlers. Now Noodlers is a pretty stable bottle, but again, it's really tall, and when the ink gets down lower, it's harder to get your nib down in there. So that's very nice. And here is the Edelstein, the Pelican Edelstein line bottle. Pelican Edelstein bottle. And these are really, sorry I keep shaking the camera, I'm trying to show you how sturdy these things are. But this is a really heavy, stable bottle, but it doesn't have anything on the bottom that would help you fill it. So when you get down to, you know, the last quarter of the bottle, there's no way to get it out. And, you know, that would not be smart at all. But it does fit right in here. Yep, nice and sturdy. And then here is an Iroshizuku bottle, which, oh, pardon me, let me fix my scarf. Okay. Now, as we probably already know, the Iroshizuku bottles do have that helpful little divot in the bottom. So you probably wouldn't have any trouble filling this one, but just say for whatever reason you wanted some more stability. Now it's pretty stable on its own, but just in case you wanted to put it in here, you certainly could. And it's got a little rounded cutout up here. Just wonder if we turn this thing over, there would be no point in doing that. Okay. All right, here is a Private Reserve bottle, a very big round bottle. But he fits right in there, no problem. And here is a Pure Pens bottle. Again, like the Troublemaker bottles, it's kind of tall and slim. But again, it fits in right in there, and it's pretty stable as long as you don't accidentally, you know, pull on the neck of the bottle. And here is a large Colorverse bottle. Oh, okay. There was a bit of hesitation going in, but you know, these bottles are flat on one side. So it's flat there, and it's round on that side. If this was perfectly round, it wouldn't fit, but that cutout allows it to go right in there. What do you know? I was afraid it wouldn't fit. But that's very cool. So that was the big one. And I don't think there's any special shape on this bottle that would help you with the filling. It looks like it's pretty flat on the bottom. And then here's a little, this is the little bottle of glistening ink that goes with the big one. But there are the smaller ones, the little 5mm ones. I don't have one of those handy. But again, this is like the Krishna bottle. It's a teeny bit shorter, but he would fit in there okay, and he's still, the neck of it's still accessible, so that would work. The even smaller 5mm bottles, you'd probably have trouble. Well, I think it would be so short. I don't know. But those bottles are so little anyway, you might have trouble filling out of the bottle, period, no matter what angle you have it at. Okay, here is the 30ml Colorverse bottle. So again, that flat front with the rounded back. And of course this fits in no problem. But I would probably put the flat side down to make it a little more stable. And then we have a Robert Oster bottle, again, a tall, slim bottle. But he fits right in, and you know what? I think this one's a bit more stable. So what do you know about that? I have some more things to say about Robert Oster, but we will get there when we start swatching my new Robert Oster inks. So, that is all for the Tiltwell. So it's like another set of hands to have at your desk. And I haven't really sat down to think about it, but I'm sure there are some other uses that we could think of for this. Like I'm thinking, you know, this could be like a pen holder. You know, that wouldn't be bad. Just put your pen right in there. So, yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of different things you could find to do with this besides just holding your bottle. It's very good at holding bottles. But if you wanted something else, if you wanted it to do something else, it certainly could. Hey, you can put your pen in sideways. So it can be a horizontal pen holder or it can be a vertical pen holder. Okay. So that is the Tiltwell. And then next up we have the Tiltwell Ink Saver. And I think this also might be called the Thingy. The Tiltwell Thingy. Which is very cute. So, if you have one of these to get to the bottom of your ink bottle, then what is the purpose of this guy? Well, this is to help you get the very last drops of ink out of your bottle. So, here's my Robert Oster, and it's way down here, so I put it in here, and I can fill out of the bottle. But then it gets to the point where I just can't get the nib in there far enough. So then I get this little guy, and I can just pour the ink in there. And I felt down in the hole. There's kind of a little divot in the bottom to kind of give your nib a place to go to. So it's fairly narrow, so it doesn't take much ink to fill it. And then you put your nib in and fill, and then whatever's left over, it has a little groove on it here. And you can just pour it back in the bottle for the next time. And it is a good size hole. Let me see. I'm trying to think of my biggest pens that I have handy. Here's a Go. That's probably the widest one that I have right now. Of course, it's narrow. The grip is narrow. But the body of it just fits right in there. Hey, well, there's 2 pen rests. So these are dual purpose items. When they're not helping you fill your pens, they're holding your pens for you. But yeah, that's really handy. And this is nice and sturdy, so while you're filling it, it's not going to go anywhere. And it will also hold an ink sample. So if you need help, you know, you need 2 hands to fill that ink sample, you can just put it right in there. And again, it's a nice sturdy base. It's not going to get knocked over. And that's super cute. I like it. Hey, this is Future Mary coming in with another idea. Excuse me. If you have your sample in the ink saver, sometimes you need to tilt the sample to get your nib down in there enough to get the ink out. So what can you do with that? You can put it in the Tiltwell. I just thought that was such a genius idea. You've got your sample holder and you've got your tilter, and now you can fill your sample. I just thought that was brilliant. I just wanted to add that. Okay, bye. The last item that I have are some pen rests. So then you can just lay your pen on there. Or I guess if you got multiples of them, you could have it across like that. But just someplace nice to set that down. Especially good if you're doing a lot of ink sampling, which I'm about to start doing, and you have a glass nib pen and you need to set it down. The glass nib pen that I have is the, what is it, the Moon Man pen, I think? That little red and pink one that I have. It's around here somewhere. It doesn't have a clip or anything on it, so when I set it down, it'll just roll. So usually what I do is I recap it so I can't break the nib. But this would be perfect to set that on in between ink samplings. And I did look on his site. He does have a bunch of other pen rests, and some of them are really cool. And he'll probably come out with more ideas But I thought the man holding the pen was pretty cool. So yeah, I think these are really handy and really functional. And they seem nice and sturdy. You know, it's nice sturdy plastic. So I think they're pretty cool. So many thanks again to Sara, and also thanks to Mr. Bob Keenan, the old guy over at Tiltwell on Etsy. So thank you so much for sending those over for me. And it's Christmas Eve here in America. So if you're celebrating Christmas, Merry Christmas. My germs and I are going to have a very quiet Christmas, but I have many fun things to play with. So I hope you will also enjoy your time and be safe and be healthy, and I will see you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.